It's official, Jadon Sancho is finally a Manchester United player, ending a transfer saga that has dominated headlines summer after summer. Having publicly failed in their pursuit of the winger 12 months ago, this time around the Red Devils have reached an agreement with Borussia Dortmund for a cool £73 million. Not only will this signal Sancho's return to English shores, but his return to Manchester, the city he rejected as a boy in August 2017 to start his professional career abroad. In our latest Explained, we will revisit the circumstances that saw him turn his back on Pep Guardiola, examine how the cages of South London have moulded the player we see today, and evaluate his extraordinary achievements in Germany that has earned him world-class status at the tender age of 21. This is the rise of Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho's prodigious talent was instantly recognisable from the moment he started playing football on the concrete pitches of Kennington, South London. His idol was Ronaldinho, and he set about trying to replicate the skills of the great Brazilian. Norman Dawkins, who worked at the Fredericks Adventure Playground where Sancho played, told Goal how even as a 6-year-old, Sancho was unplayable, constantly nutmegging people and pitching himself against older boys. It was during these games that he met his childhood friend Reiss Nelson, and together they began to dominate local competitions. But while Nelson headed to Arsenal, Sancho was snapped up by Watford on a schoolboy's contract. At just 11 years old, Sancho moved into the club's Harefield Academy digs roughly 30 miles from his family home, earning his first taste of independence that would set the tempo for his career decisions going forward. To this day, Sancho still identifies as a street footballer, but it was at Watford that he started to combine his skill and trickery with tactics and positional awareness. And even at a young age, his unflappable determination was on permanent display. Louis Lancaster, his former youth coach at the Hornets, recently told The Athletic how a 13-year-old Sancho knew exactly what he wanted in life. When asked by Lancaster about his ambitions, he replied, "The dream is to play for one of Europe's top clubs and to play for my country." Sadly for Watford, Sancho's ambition saw him leave in March 2015, aged just 14, when he joined Manchester City. Unfazed by the move north, he was just the second Londoner signed to the Citizens Academy. The Sky Blues paid an initial £66,000 under the Premier League's Elite Player Performance Plan, though the fee was set to rise to £500,000 in add-ons. Sancho set about lighting up the Manchester City Academy, scoring 5 on his debut for the under-16s. He would go on to net 15 times and register 6 assists in just 22 games for the under-18s, and register 12 more goal involvements for the under-23s. He achieved it all alongside the other shining light in the City youth setup, Phil Foden, with their friendly rivalry helping to maximise each other's potential. He also gained a mentor in Raheem Sterling, who kept the starlet focused on his career as he began to be exposed to the destabilising temptations of adult life. By 2017, City's director of football, Tiki Berestein, had earmarked Foden and Sancho along with Brahim Diaz, now of AC Milan, as the future of the club. So at just 17, Sancho was offered a £30,000 per week contract before he had even made his senior debut. However, assurances over game time slowed down negotiations. Despite regularly training under Guardiola, the teenager believed he was ready for the first team. But Manchester City in the era of Emirati ownership had a poor record of promoting youth products, and Guardiola had swathes of attacking options already at the club. That included the new additions of Nolito, Leroy Sane, Gabriel Jesus and Bernardo Silva, while they were embroiled in a high-profile pursuit of Arsenal's Alexis Sanchez the same summer. But such was the desperation to get Sancho on board, the club's chairman Khaldoun Al-Mubarak intervened. He announced to the press, "If the end result is to get Sancho to be a starter at Manchester City, there is a balance that needs to be struck." However, the young Englishman remained unconvinced, and much to City's horror, he rejected their contract offer. Sancho was promptly left out of the club's pre-season tour to the USA, and then refused to attend training. He had decided to leave. And a few months later, German giants Borussia Dortmund arrived on the scene, handing City £10 million to capture one of the brightest prospects English football had to offer. Sancho bet on Germany being the perfect place to launch his professional career, and the stats supported his hunch. At the time of his arrival, a third of the Bundesliga's 18 managers were in their 30s, while Dortmund had an average squad age of just over 24. He echoed these sentiments when asked why he signed for Die Borussen in 2019, saying, "It's obvious, they have faith in young players. It's a big club in a good league, so why not?" The club's sporting director Michael Zorc praised Sancho as one of the greatest talents in European football, and immediately handed their new recruit the prestigious number 7 shirt. That had been vacated by Ousmane Dembele, sold in the same summer to Barcelona for over £120 million, setting a precedent for what Sancho could achieve at the Westfalenstadion. And it wasn't long before BVB set to work repaying the trust Sancho had placed with them on the pitch. In October, just over a month after joining the club, Dortmund arranged for Sancho to be brought back from the Under-17 World Cup in India following England's progression from the group stages. The Londoner had scored 3 times for the Junior Lions, shining among a squad that included Callum Hudson-Odoi, Phil Foden and new Crystal Palace signing Mark Way. Despite the loss of Sancho, they would go on to lift the title, but back in Germany, the young winger had no time for self-pity as he was thrown straight into action. On the 21st of October, he made his Bundesliga debut as a substitute against Eintracht Frankfurt, before experiencing his first Der Klassiker 2 weeks later. The subsequent dismissal of Peter Bosz as coach could have thrown Sancho off track, but his replacement, Peter Stöger, was equally taken by the English starlets. "Jadon is a very talented lad, a real livewire," said the Austrian. "He has real quality even though he isn't quite the finished article in front of goal." Despite those limitations, Stöger was happy enough to hand Sancho his first league start in January 2018, picking him ahead of Andre Schürrle for a clash with Wolfsburg. Though he wouldn't score, Sancho hit the post, touched the ball 60 times and completed more sprints than any of his teammates. He would end the season with 1 goal in 12 Bundesliga appearances, scored late in April against Bayer Leverkusen in a game where he stole the show with 2 further assists. Sancho's talent was now no longer up for debate. The introduction of Lucien Favre as Dortmund coach in the summer of 2018 coincided with the moment Sancho really hit his stride in the Signal Iduna Park. In October of that year, he was named the Bundesliga Player of the Month and also became Dortmund's youngest ever Champions League goalscorer after finding the net against Atletico Madrid. Now at home on the right wing of a 4-2-3-1, the records continued to tumble at his feet. 12 goals and 14 assists made him the youngest ever player to score more than 10 in a single Bully campaign for BVB, while he was named in the division's team of the season. His blistering pace and close control made him almost untouchable, and he would complete 50% more dribbles than any other player in the German top flight. Meanwhile, Gareth Southgate began to take notice of the young Englishman's achievements, and in October 2018 handed Sancho his senior Three Lions debut against Croatia. Fast forward to September 2019 and the teenager was on the score sheet for his country, netting a brace in a Euro 2020 qualifier against Kosovo. It had taken just 5 years to achieve the targets he'd set himself as a 13-year-old in Watford. But the best was still yet to come. Across 2019-20, he scored 17 times in the league and posted a massive 16 assists, smashing his XG by 6 with a selection of stunning finishes. What's more, he dribbled past more players and completed more goal-creating actions than anyone else in the Bundesliga, and was once again named in the division's team of the season. By this point, Dortmund valued the 20-year-old at £120 million. This was the price quoted to Manchester United, who launched their first concrete attempt to sign Sancho in the summer of 2020. But after missing countless deadlines set by the Germans and hindered by the financial uncertainty from the pandemic, the deal failed to materialise. However, a return to the Premier League now felt inevitable. During 2019-20, Sancho was criticised and fined by Michael Zorc for returning to the club late from international duty, and a subdued start to the following campaign that saw him on no goals and just 3 assists by Christmas did little to convince BVB's fans that his heart was still in the project. But he would recover to register 19 goal involvements across the season and also capture the DFB Pokal after netting a brace in the final against RB Leipzig. It marked his first major piece of silverware, while he was also the competition's top scorer. This time, Manchester United made no mistake when it came to negotiations. On Thursday the 1st of July, both United and Dortmund announced a fee had been agreed, with £73 million making him the second most expensive player after his new captain, Harry Maguire. Sancho's story is that of a player never willing to follow conventions. In his own words, if you're serious about football, you have to make sacrifices. You can't be afraid. You can't be the best if you don't take chances. This undying focus on success has paid off so far, and means that he will arrive at United as one of the biggest stars in world football. And still only 21, who knows what he could go on to achieve in the theatre of dreams. So that was our explained on the rise of Jadon Sancho. Manchester United fans, how excited are you that he's going to be playing for you next season? Let us know down in the comments below and give us some ideas of what you want us to cover next time on this series. Make sure you're liked and subscribed to Football Daily, and we'll see you next time.